AI, artificial intelligence, is it just a scam? Is it just a hoax? Is it overhyped? In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on that you're generally not going to find out there because, well, it doesn't fit the narrative. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. You have to do what you think is best. You got to do your own due diligence, but I'm here to just give you another layer, and I hope you appreciate that. We are going to talk about AI as it is today. Of course, it's got a long way to go to actually be AI, but this is something very important as an investor. Of course, AI will become smarter and smarter as time goes on. We already know that it does better at many, many tasks. It can do the bar exam, it could pass everything with flying colors. We know that. There are more things that are coming down the line. We see this. And of course, there are some big winners as a result of it. I've talked about, yes, the companies like Nvidia, which we'll talk about today. But there's also what is going to power this? What is going to cool this? How are you going to take advantage of it on a secondary level? It's important to know the secondary level just as much as you know the first. Look, you can just put your money into Nvidia and hope and pray that that's going to continue. But of course, there are other levels to it, and you want to have your money in what I call the trifecta method of investing. That is available on the playlist section of my YouTube channel. It's called Trifecta Method, and you could apply that to anywhere right now with AI. Look, pay attention to what I'm about to show you today, and I think it will be quite revealing for some. You know, we have always been told, and this is just one example, that things will always remain status quo. You see that all the time in 2020. Everything was topsy-turvy, but you didn't need to worry because everybody was going to have a Peloton. Uh-oh, it's down 98%. Zoom, which was more valuable than ExxonMobil in 2020, I mean, it's ridiculous. It is down 89% and so on. Yeah, you might say to yourself, well, you know what? That company's not this company and that company's not that company. And yeah, I get it. But I know because I watch all of everything from retail traders to the professional investors. I look at the Bank of America surveys. I'm paying attention to every single level at this. And during that time, it wasn't like that because it was actually, oh no, everyone's gonna have a Peloton, everyone's gonna use DocuSign, everyone's gonna no. Things do change. Things do change. And when do they change? When you least expect it. This is the proportion of S&P 500 companies mentioning AI during quarterly earnings calls. And you will see right here, 41%. All you need to know is that this has been increasing dramatically over the last little while. Now, why are they doing this? Well, number one, this is hyped up in the media so we can see AI everywhere. And every company needs to do something with AI right now, or they are not going to get the attention from shareholders. They're not going to get new investors. They're not going to get funding. If they're a private company, they're not going to get the venture capital. They're not going to get the best loans. AI is how you can proceed in this new world that we live in. Even if they have nothing to do with AI, they got to find a way to put that in, okay? Because that's just the way that things are right now. It's a little bit ridiculous. I understand that artificial intelligence could do so much, but things that we have right now aren't really artificial intelligence. I'll tell you something about, I think it was at the time Facebook. I don't even think they were Meta at that time. They ran this experiment where they had these two AI things talking to each other. You may remember this. They were talking to each other, and then at some point during the experiment, they created their own language between each other because I guess they seemed that that would be more efficient to communicate with the two of them. And as soon as they realized, the programmer realized that they couldn't understand what was going on between these two, that they had lost control. It had become, in a sense, sentient, and it was able to do things without the knowledge of the creator of it. That is artificial intelligence. That's artificial intelligence, not what they just label AI on everything. That's not an AI. That's not AI. What 99.9% of the stuff that has AI label on it is not AI at all. Anyway, the point is we will get there where we're moving towards there, but it's way further out than what we're being told. I'm talking about real AI, all right? Artificial intelligence. Alibaba sparks China AI price war with spate of steep discounts. Baidu follows suit with free services after Alibaba cuts. I talked about this with the Finance Friday crew, and now you're getting a little piece of that anyway. And what you can see here is that the competition is undoubtedly fierce inside of China. And you can see Alibaba slashing prices for a clutch of artificial intelligence services by as much as 97%, spurring an immediate response from Baidu and potentially the start of a price war in China's nascent AI market. It's different, of course, China, comparing that to like a company like Nvidia, what they have to deal with. But globally, anywhere they got tech companies, they got to go to AI, right? They're all being pushed into that right now. There's no question about it. And so you could see that, I'll show you this chart here. Unbelievable to see the price reduction announcements effective May 21st. Looking at it across the board, reductions. All right. Significant reductions, in fact. And then we have this. Nvidia cuts China's prices in Huawei chip fight. Nvidia slashes the prices of its most advanced China chip. Okay, different scenario, obviously, China and everywhere else, because they want to make sure that China doesn't get the most advanced stuff. But it's still considered to be advanced, right? It's just not the most advanced. Price cut underlines challenge in the China market amid US sanctions. Huawei plans to increase shipments of its chips in 2024. Beijing tells local firms to buy Chinese chips, of course, giving Huawei a leg up. So, hey, you want to follow in line here? You got to buy Huawei chips, support China. They're going with nationalism, of course. They need to do this. And so they're going to support their own company that, any country should be doing that regardless. But you can see here, as a result of that, this company sells a lot of stuff, right? And if suddenly they don't have as big a buyer as they did before, that will impact them. But clearly not affecting its stock price. Let me tell you that. It just goes straight up and will continue to go straight up until it's $1 million a share. I mean, why not? Why not? And you could see that more details. As always, links are in the description under the sources. The Web 2.0 monopolies started generating stellar profits growth in the 2010s. Look at it. Comparing US tech to the world, big difference. Big difference. There's no question about that. All of the funding has been going toward, all the investment has been going towards the big tech stocks. It used to be the FANG stocks, and then changed the Magnificent Seven. It's all the big tech stocks, and very soon Nvidia will become the biggest stock in the world. So there's no question about that. It can't stop, right? It's a party. It's 1999. The US has generated almost all the growth in the world stock market profits. Look at it. Just take a look. It's all US. Europe is finished. What's going to happen there? Latin America? What's going on? When we're talking about where the most investable companies are, it's overwhelmingly, when you talk about, I'm looking at this from the professional investor's standpoint, the most investable companies are US tech stocks. There's no question about that. Are there other opportunities elsewhere? Of course, absolutely. But for most people, they're just saying, who cares? Forget it. I'm just going to invest in tech stocks in the US and I'm going to do good. So that's really what's happening. It's been an overabundance of capital going that way. There's no question. And then we have this. It's talking about Tim Cook and AI and so on. But really, what the article was getting into is the challenges that are experienced here that don't really get enough airtime. And what this is all about is the fact that there is no regulation around AI. So remember, this thing is shooting up like crazy. Like when we talk about AI in general stocks, they're going straight to the moon. there is like zero regulation on AI, nothing. So the government's always going to be way behind on that. But if they start to implement it, this will impact these companies overwhelmingly. We know this to be the case. I don't know in what way they're going to bring in any regulation, but certainly they seem like they want to. They're just super slow. They don't understand it. Just like the digital currencies thing that they were talking about many years ago, they started putting that in regulations and laws and things. They didn't even really know what they were discussing. And now here with AI, they're always going to be behind. It's always going to be sort of esoteric in the way that it's written. It's vague. Nobody really understands it. The point is, regulations are always going to impact the stock price. Well, not always, but for the most part, it would be a negative impact, at least initially, at least because there's a fear of like how is this going to really hurt us? Is it going to, what's it going to do? It could create less. In some cases, it could create less competition. In some cases, it could create more competition. It could push things out to other countries. We don't know what's going to happen. I think that the issues of AI will come out in the next several months here. So we got to keep an eye on it, but understand what's happening at the highest level when we talk about the big tech stocks. We'll see how they proceed. Of course, one of the biggest beneficiaries has been Microsoft all along at this point, but we need to know these details. If you want to know more about this, I talk about it with my Finance Friday crew. Okay, what we do there is we go through on Zoom for 2 hours plus every Friday, and we look at the intricacies, whether it's AI this week, maybe if the Fed has a meeting, we look into the Fed meeting, and we get into that detail so that you can make better decisions about your investments, so that you can make better choices with your own personal circumstance. So if you're interested in that, link at the top of the description. But before you go, why don't you click that button right now, the thumbs up, because that does support the channel. It tells the algorithm this guy's got some good stuff to share. And of course, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.